It was good, Rakim. Yeah, I'm just having like an impromptu stream and everything like that. I'll put the link in the description. All right. I'm chilling. How you? I'm good, just maintaining, just having an impromptu stream tonight. Yeah. I was like, you know what, since I'm bored and I'm like, all right, about to do a little stream. It's gonna be a very short stream, to tell you the truth. So let's see what we can talk about since this is an open topic I hold. I've been doing good, Hebrew Lion. I just came up on some new information about a certain somebody, which I'm not going to share, but I'm just keeping it to myself. I don't care, but that dude is highly stupid, and that's all I'm going to say. We're not going to mention names because they don't matter. Yeah. How you doing?
Don, I'm doing all right, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Just a little bit tired from work. So I
I,
was like, all right, I'm gonna do an impromptu stream because I was talking to one of my friends that on social media that he's a big influencer and everything.
hmm
He was like to stay relevant, to stay relevant or whatever. Try to
hmm
do 3 streams a day. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay, well, one topic that we can definitely talk about, because I understand it's an open topic conversation, is it is September the 13th, 2023. And I want to
Right?
say rest in peace to Tupac Shakur, who was a big
Yeah.
influence on me from my childhood growing up. And he's definitely a legend. And his music definitely had an impact on my childhood and me growing up.
Yeah. It actually had an impact on my teenage years also. It
Mm.
was funny, right? And I'm gonna tell you the truth. During the time when Pop passed, it was shocking, but then it wasn't like it was shocking when we heard it, but then it wasn't surprising because you know what was going on at the time, which was the East Coast and West Coast beef. What was surprising was the passing of Notorious B.I.G. right after that. I was like, and I did, and it was days before my birthday. It happened.
Man, that's crazy. I remember when all of that was on television. I remember the America's Most Wanted TV show when they was trying to find out who was the person that deleted Pac or whatever. And I remember when they put it on the news on ABC. I was watching ABC Channel 7, Chicago News, and it flashed across the news. I was 8 years old, man, going on 9 when it was like Notorious B.I.G. has been deleted and in Los Angeles. See,
Yeah, it was like when it was Notorious B.I.G. Right.
mhm.
I remember where I was at. I was in my godfather's car, just coming after church, right? And then the next thing you know, there was like, yo, he got deleted. I was like, what the heck? That was news. It was like when you young, it was like how? Like you would think that all these rappers had like all the security and everything like that. But then when you go down the years and everything like that, some of these rappers was just regular guys. The flashiness and everything like that people were doing and whatever was just all an illusion when you look at it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Man, like one of my favorite albums at that time period during Pac's passing, my mother had bought The Seventh Day Theory, Machiavelli, Don Illuminati, The Seventh Day Theory. And I remember that album was kind of dark and it was scary. And even when you look at the cover of that album, when he was on the cross and it said, no way it's just cover any disrespect to Jesus Christ and with the nails. I can remember, one of my favorite songs on that album was called Blasphemy. And it was like a real dark intro in the beginning. It was like God has a plan, and the Bible bestowed upon that plan. It's like, and I was like, I remember being scared listening to that as a kid and not really fully comprehending the lyrics. But as I got older, I started to understand a lot of the things that he was saying. Me Against the World, another one of my favorite Pac albums, Tupacalypse Now, um, Until the End of Time, definitely. Until the End of Time, Still I Rise. So many. Are You Still Down? So many, man. So many. Rest in
Yeah, it was like as far as anything, it was like when
Hold
it
on one
was
second, and I'll be
all
right back.
right.
I'll be right back. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
I'm back too.
Yeah, it was. It was. Man, he just had he. Pac helped me get through a lot of things as a child. He helped me get through a lot of things. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like when I was growing up, right? And I was like maybe 13ish or 14ish at the time. I'm trying to think.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, so I was like maybe 12 going or 13 or at that time when he passed, and it was crazy. And the thing is though, the atmosphere in New York, I can't really speak for anywhere else because I didn't really go anywhere else as a kid. But I just know the atmosphere in the Bronx was like, wow, when Pac died. And years later we saw all the stuff that happened, but it wasn't like how the internet was now. The internet was still dialing up. It wasn't as advanced as it is now. So we just saw stuff in the news and people just talking about what happened. It was like, yo, that's crazy. But regular New York dudes didn't know the politics behind the LA politics that went on. So, after looking at the interviews and everything like that, talking about the passing of Tupac, on a lighter note, they saying that they might charge Keefy D
Yeah, I don't
with
know.
that deletion.
About that. Yeah, I don't know much about that. Well, they gotta hopefully they got certain evidence that he did it, or if they got enough to,
Hey, how
really
you doing, AD?
Hey, what's up?
I'm chilling. This is my homie Rakim.
Hey,
nice to meet you,
Rakim.
AD. How you
Pleasure.
doing today?
I'm all right.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, like I wouldn't really know much about that, but I know as far as the impact of his music, you know, like I said, Tupac, he got me through a lot when I was growing up, and he was definitely
yeah,
iconic, definitely iconic.
yeah. It was like with me to say, like, even though I was not really into the underground and stuff, but just to hear, it was like a mixture between Pac, Biggie, Big Pun, and DMX that got me through a lot of the stuff
Hmm.
because their musics they actually made an impact on my own life and everything like that. And
Right.
it's even to the point when I used to curse out people. Those like, oh crap, he sounds like DMX.
You know what's crazy, man? I can remember, and it's crazy the way that the world has changed because kids today don't really have the attention span. When you look at hip hop today versus back then, like you hear the stuff that people are saying now, really don't. It's little to no talent. When we used to go to school, we used to go to school reciting lyrics. Man, we were like, "Yo, did you hear what he said with this and that and this track? Did you hear that?" Like
Yeah, I
he's.
mean, it's to the point that like it's funny because I was just listening to a track right there that even though I didn't know it was a year old, but I keep hearing it every time they do a criminal video. Like, what up? I was like, yo, why they keep playing this song right there? So I saw the video. I was like, oh, okay. Even though the song is whack, but it's catchy.
Mhm. Yeah, that's mostly what's going on these days, man. Me personally, I'm gonna keep it real. I can't really listen to a lot of the music today because I feel like when I do listen to it, I get dumber. I'm a
Yeah,
80s baby, so I stick to the 90s and the early 2000s.
right.
I mean, it was
I mean,
about the message before, and it's all about the image and marketing now. It's just, I feel like everything is just copied and pasted. Nobody's original. Nobody is really saying much of anything. It's just what can go viral.
right.
And then it'll go viral for all of a month. And then it's like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I think, my
Exactly.
father told me growing up with music, right? You had to create albums. It took time. People got to people were really into the discography of how things were made and how what inspired the artist to make the music. And usually you would have songs that would be about what's going on, right? That would have political messages and stuff like that. But like nowadays, it's strictly a business. It's just about churning out the next generic shit until somebody comes
Primo,
up with something
primo,
new.
¿qué es lo que hay?
Uh,
You're absolutely right, AD. You're absolutely right. And it's sad to see things have become this way. It was always a business, but I guess I know you all are New Yorkers. At that particular time, hip hop was something still fresh, so the record labels didn't really know how to capitalize off of it. But now that you see things have changed and more artists are going independent, the record labels are becoming more desperate to just pick up anything that's trendy just to make a quick dollar.
and but I think in a way too, like you said earlier about our attention spans, that's another reason too. It's like it's what's viral, and then like it's got to be difficult to be an artist now because it's like as soon as you put out a hit, it's like you only got like a week or so or 3 weeks or a month before people get sick of it, and it's like, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And just having that fucking pressure upon you to perform, it really just has to take it's just got to take the joy out of it. And I think,
Right.
I mean, even you, I mean, look at eight, like before, right? You would have to have whole albums, like I said, and what have you. And then, we would follow the artists around to explain, the mindset, like it was really about appreciating the art behind it and the creativity. But I think now, especially with digital, like, you used to have to be good based on how many like whole albums you would sell. Right now, it's all about how many streams you can download. And now with like technology, you have AI that is using the voice of an artist to make whole songs that artist isn't even singing. So I'm just like, where is that going to take, music? I mean, you look at what is going on with acting, right? All these strikes and what have you, because I don't know. It's just entertainment has become really, really difficult because it's really not about the creativity anymore. It's not about enjoying the art of the process anymore. It's just, oh my God, I need to know what the next best thing is. Let me just put out a hit and then hopefully that'll help me go viral. And sometimes they try to replicate the same success again, but it just doesn't work the same way. It's like it sucks because you always have to figure out, oh my God, like what I did that got me here won't keep me here. So I have to constantly renovate and find ways that I'm going to stay relevant. I mean, I think that's why too a lot of artists like it's not about the music anymore. They have to dab into other things. They have to open up a makeup line. They have to, open up a whatever this, or they have to manufacture some sort of controversy so that they're always talked about and somehow end up in the shade room or whatever. Like it
Yeah,
really is
yeah,
just about the cult
like
of celebrity.
yeah, like that artist. What's her name? Azalea Banks. It's funny that we hear more about her controversy than we actually hear about her songs or whatsoever. So my
Which is
thing
a
is just
shame
that
because she's not a bad like like if I've heard some of her songs and they're not bad. Like I
Yeah,
really
he's
she
very
has the
they're
versatile.
talent.
not.
I don't know why she feels she has to do all that.
Yeah, I know. It's like okay, I heard some of her songs, but I'm like, yo, just focus on the hits. We don't want to hear how you getting kicked out. We don't want to hear about all the other stuff when you're insulting celebrities and everything.
Right, right. And I think you know what it comes down to these days is that due to the emergence of social media, it has gotten to a point where most of the fans want to be involved in the celebrity's personal life. And the precursor to that was actually when we will watch, as teenagers and when we were young adults, we remember MTV's The Diary, and you will follow the celebrities around the different studios and them meeting up with people. And then you had like the emergence of reality television, like Real World, and then it went to the Flavor of Love, and you had the gossip sites on social media and different things like that. And as time went on, once the cameras became more advanced and people were able to film everything, now most people want to be involved in the celebrities' lives and know more about what's going on with them. And with the shorts and different things like that, the such a small attention span, I got to keep, people like what AD said. Not only do you have to produce a hit, but you have to have a lot of antics and different things to go around to keep your name relevant within the music, So I say after 2011, that's when it really got kind of
Yeah,
this.
and it definitely created a way. I mean, social media made it worse, but it's crazy the parasocial relationships people have with, artists. It's okay to have an emotional connection to their lyrics because as, when I walked into the conversation, you guys said certain artists, their songs really helped you get through some tough times, but you understood at the end of the day, like, their celebrities who are there to, share this talent with people, but there is a business side to it. But there's that separation. I feel like nowadays people feel like they're way too attached to celebrities to the point where it's
Mhm.
these boundaries are blurred. I mean, it's just the entitlement. Like these celebrities don't owe you a fucking thing just because you bought a ticket to their concerts. And the
Right.
way that I mean, when Doja Cat said like something about she couldn't even stand most of her fans, I'm not surprised. Like people are like, how could she say that? I'm like, bitch, because she's not your friend. Your
Mhm.
favorite celebrities don't care about y'all. Like, good on her for injecting a dose of reality so that you guys can like, get your head out of the clouds.
Yeah.
You know, you're
I
just
mean,
another, nameless face in a ocean worth of faces. You know what I mean? They don't really care. Everything is all about an image. You look at these music, artists, even when they try to talk about something meaningful, something about politics, some of it is just manufactured. Some of it is just so that they can tap into a market, so that they can look aesthetically pleasing and like, be given a pat on the back. Like Beyonce doing all that shit about Black Lives Matter. But honey, that you're sitting here putting out stuff like I think I forgot what line of product she had, but it was so completely like ridiculously expensive and it didn't sell well. And I'm like, yo, she's a fucking
Oh,
capitalist
I
at
know
the
what
end
you're
of the day.
talking about, AD. You're talking about the Adidas Ivy Park. Um,
Like she's a capitalist at the end of the day. She can talk all that shit about Black Lives Matter, but it doesn't really affect them. Look, I have more respect for Lil Wayne, who was honest about it. He's like, look, all I care about is my money. Don't talk to me about no Black Lives Matter. I'm not here to talk about it. And people are like, oh, but I'm like, you know what? I respect that he had the balls to be honest. A lot of your fucking celebrities, even when they say what you think they want to hear, they don't really live that life. They're not connected to the suffering. They don't care because they're so disconnected from it. They just know it sounds good.
right.
yeah. I
That's
mean, if you really look at it, that's how I think I feel with all these supposed celebrity gangbangers and everything like that. I'm like, okay, let's put it like this. I know you got people that that they're in street organizations and everything like that, and they made a way out and they trying to do whatever. But if they're trying to go and promote the ignorance and everything like that, but yet you could go home to your wife and child and everything like that after wearing a rag and stuff like that, but yet you seen a whole bunch of people that might just be influenced by your words and might go into a war until there'll be deletion, there'll be self delete, there'll be deletions on the streets. Then that's when I'll be like, okay, you have to separate the artist, the music from the person, because the person at the end of the day doesn't really care what you doing or anything like that, and it's not like that they're a Fortune 500 company or a $1 billion CEO to get you out the hood.
absolutely. And to add on to what AD was saying, even with a lot of celebrities these days jumping on whatever's trending, whatever topic that's going on to increase their celebrity to I think a lot of people just don't understand that attention is currency. So in the beginning, a lot of these people they're just looking for you to pay attention to them, to put eyes on them, so they can find a way to build a brand on social media to create currency for it. what you said about Doja Cat was spot on. To be honest, I thought she was a weirdo from the jump. And if you pay close attention to a lot of these people, due to the fact that we have so much insight into, them blowing up before, compared to back in the days, you can really see them changing. You can really see them changing. I would say, like, in my personal opinion, like, I would take an artist from my hometown, like Kanye West. Kanye, after the late registration, like, it's just really sad to see where he's landed. He's so far removed, from Chicago. Is He's definitely nowhere near the same person. He's gotten involved in that industry. He wanted to be around, the snobbish type of people. That's who he makes his money with, to the point that it's really has taken effect on his mental health, which is obvious.
And
I
it's a
mean, yeah,
combination. Some of it is induced, by outside forces. But again, the thing with Kanye West is that he's such a pompous, arrogant person, and that doesn't really help him. I just can't help it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I want to feel bad for that guy, but then he opens his mouth, and I'm just like, you need some PR training because what the
Yeah, me too. I feel the same as way as you do. I never felt bad for Kanye. I understand that Miss Donda, his mom, she passed on, and much respect to Miss Donda. She used to teach in Chicago State University. You know, from what I hear, I've heard nothing but good things about her. But like you said, he's such a pompous, arrogant person. I mean, just look at when he verbally disrespected Sway on his channel, and this was somebody that he had known for years. Because Sway told him, "I'm like, you so focused on trying to be accepted by these white folks who really don't want you in their fashion industry, who don't. I understand that you're trying to make your own brand, and they got connections to certain silks and different materials that you can't. But like he was just saying, like, I don't even. Is everybody still there?
yeah, you're just on solo layout right now.
yeah.
Okay. He was like, I don't even know all of these people that you're talking, all of these Italian names and French names. It sounds foreign to me. But he was like, why don't you just create your own company and do this? How, Sway? How is because you want to be up there at the level with them. And you don't realize that those people are bigoted. They're very racist and they don't want you in their circles. But you're so hell bent on being accepted by them, you don't even realize that you're the talent. Most of the people are influenced by you. You can create a certain brand that a lot of people will and everybody got on Sway. Kanye was right, only for Kanye to say 8, 9 years later, yeah, Sway was right. I should have, followed his advice. Well, duh. But
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at it, it's it's the arrogancy that I could actually say that contributed to some of um Kanye's failed relationships, even with his ex-wife Kim Kardashian. So my thing is that you can have a good family or whatever, but then the arrogance and then whatever whatever it is and stuff. At the end of the day, we hear about bits and pieces from the news, but between them, we don't really know what happened. You get what I'm trying to say? So and the thing is though, I mean, the way that Kanye is dressing right now, we don't know what's going on. Just the other day, they're talking about him and his supposed new wife, and homie just had his butt crack out in the door and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know what to make of Kanye. I just don't really listen to him. They put in the news, oh Kanye, just like they put that dude 6ix9ine and his relationship with whosoever. I don't listen to them.
yeah, me personally, I don't really. It's just like what AD said a minute ago. I don't feel sorry for him at all. I just don't like. And I can remember, let's say when he said whatever he said about the Hebrews, everybody was like, "Oh, he got a plan up his sleeve." See, Kanye's a genius. Kanye is only calling out what everybody already knew. Nope, like people have already knew that the Hebrews run the music industry and the Hollywood industry. There's documentaries on it. People knew that the Hebrews run the banking systems. That they learned the banking systems in Europe and utilized that same blueprint over here in the United States. And of course, with their culture, they're gonna, have friends in high places, especially with their, religious connection. Everybody knew this. Everybody knew the Hebrews was exploiting the black community as far as talent and musicians go. He's not saying something that nobody knew, but people are so fanned out with their favorite celebrity that they act like he's speaking the gospel. And if all you do is you do a little research and Google a few things and watch some documentaries, you'll know more information on that. And in the end, he did not have a plan. People thought he was actually working on behalf of the people. He was never working on behalf of the people. He just caught a temper tantrum because he couldn't, once again, he was not accepted or didn't get the contract that he felt that he deserved, and he wanted to lash out. And they end up showing him who had the power, because he went from a billionaire overnight to losing a lot of money and a lot of connections. So
Listen, everybody knows you don't piss off the Jews. I mean, come on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have to say because they're financially for protected class, so we're just gonna say Hebrews.
Oh, okay. Let me stop
Yeah,
before they come for me. Although they don't got
yeah.
crap to come for me for, because I'm broke.
Nah, but you know what's funny? It's like it's funny, right? Talking about the Hebrews, and then us as I'm saying you and me, AD, as Dominicans, right? A lot of people within the Dominican collective, if they knew or not know, they might have some Hebrew blood in them. I mean,
Well,
they.
my sister did take a DNA, one of those spit in a whatever and send it and whatever, and they analyze it. But I didn't do it because I don't really care about blood quantum. Phenotypically, I'm very, I have a lot of Afrocentric features. So in this country, your phenotype determines what you're be racialized as. So I'm a black woman. I don't really care if I'm 2% this, 3% that, 8% the other thing. I don't give a shit. But my sister decided for birth and giggles to get the DNA testing, and it turns out she's 2% Sephardic Jewish, which I I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, we do have some of it in us. I think if you believe in the 12 Hebrew tribes, I think that the Dominicans are Saint Simeon and Haitians are Levi, and I forgot what the other ones are. I mean, I don't, like I said, I just, sorry, Hebrew. She's 2% Sephardic Hebrew. But I mean, I'm not surprised. Because if you really break down your DNA, everyone's a little bit of something. Like, no, I don't think anybody, it really is 100% anything nowadays. It's almost impossible with all the traveling and all the globalization and all of that, all the trading and what have you. Like, you know what I mean? Who the heck doesn't have a little trace of this and that in them?
right. And what's crazy about what you're saying, AD, because we all know, life started out in Africa. I believe it was in East Africa, and then everyone traveled out into, different regions. I don't know if the earth was one big landmass before, and then things, then the land cracked into the different continents or so, or the people traveled during the ice age or however they got there. But the perfect example of that is it's one island. I'm pretty sure that you've seen it. That's never been touched before, called Sentinel Island, and I think it's right off the coast of. I'm not sure if it's India or somewhere, but those people are pretty much black people, and you can tell from the traveling, or when you look at the Aboriginals in Australia or the Negrito people of the Philippines. So that's a lot of information that a lot of these places at one point were dark complected people. Even when you look at the history of the island of Hispaniola and the Tainos, and how a lot of them migrated to Hispaniola and parts of the Caribbean from South America. Um, but yeah, it's crazy when you think about that, because of course a lot of the religions started. Most people say Christianity or the Hebrew religion started in the Middle East, but I think a lot of that stuff actually started in Eastern Africa. And if you see, of course,
Yeah,
the
the Ethiopian Bible came out long before the King James, but it is very different.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's funny because I was talking to a Rastafarian the other day on my Uber to the gym, and we was actually talking about the Ethiopian Bible, how it's still preserved to this day. I'm like, wow. So at the end, we it's like I guess we'll have to read. We'll have to see about the Bible stuff for people who do read the Bibles, because I'm one of them. So, and me and my wife, we was actually talking about that the other day. Maybe going to Israel or somewhere in the Middle East, because I always certain people they'll try to tell me that, oh, these attacks are going to happen. But I've had friends that went to Israel and they said they had a nice time and great food.
Oh,
I
my
was like,
mom went. My mom went several years ago. She did tell me that these conflicts are more sensationalized by the media, that is not as bad as people make it out to be. Like and I was terrified when she went. Like when I tell you I prayed, I'm like, oh my God, if she can just please make it back alive. But she said, she went on a missions trip and, she said it was one of the best experiences in her life. But the thing is, she really only goes for the biblical connection. I mean, it's not, she didn't go there for just like a vacation. Some people just go there, to like float on the Dead Sea and then take a picture of it and put it on Instagram. But she said, at least in her experience, she stayed for, I think, I forgot how many weeks it was. But she said, no, it wasn't that many weeks. It was like less than 2 weeks. What am I talking about? But she said she enjoyed it. And she said, like she wasn't afraid. There wasn't all this tension. Like people were very friendly towards her. Although that's probably because they know she's American. Who knows? you know, I guess for tourism purposes and for aestheticism purposes, they're like, oh, let's not act crazy around these people.
yeah.
But
I mean, it's like it's funny that everybody they'll try to paint the narrative in the United States, but then when you do go to a country and then just try to learn their customs before you get caught up or anything like that. And one thing when me and my wife we went to the Bahamas and such, we went. Well, my wife went back to the cruise ship, but I went up and I took a taxi just to drive all around Nassau. I could tell you, if you think that calamari is good, try some fried conch up in the Bahamas. I'll tell you, that junk just blew me out of water.
I heard fried conch is pretty good. I heard conch is pretty good in general. I haven't the only Caribbean food that I have tasted that I'm familiar with is either Jamaican or Puerto Rican, but I haven't had the opportunity to try like Cuban, Dominican food or Bohemian food or Haitian food, anything like that.
Oh yeah, talking about that. When are you gonna come to New York, Rakim? You gotta
Man,
let us.
bro, I got it's probably gonna be earlier next year. I
All right,
definitely,
so therefore, hopefully, just let me and all the other people know so we could take you to the nice spots.
definitely, man. I gotta, with me being such a big hip hop fan, man, I definitely want to hit the Bronx. I definitely want to hit Brooklyn,
Yeah,
Queens, of course, money making Manhattan. I definitely want to hit Harlem.
yep.
different places, man. I definitely
Yeah,
want to take
come
it.
soon before it becomes completely gentrified and you know
That's what
what
I've been
washed.
hearing. Exactly what I've been hearing. I heard the New York today ain't the same New York as it was back then. And that's with a lot of major cities. My city as well is not the same as it was back in the 90s and the early 2000s. And
Yeah, it was like me personally. It was like, okay, maybe you might have been a fan of this, but me as a New Yorker, I couldn't stand these guys because I did not understand a damn word what they were saying. Crucial conflict.
oh man, I'm a big fan of Crucial Conflict.
Yo. When I was growing up, right? And I'm just saying, when I was growing up, my sister. She was in the Midwest, and she was like, "Yo, was my jam." I was like,
Mhm.
"Yo, we in New York. We thought that these dudes were just dusty dudes that they were talking about that what they were talking about was chicken scratch, and we
Nah,
didn't understand a word that they were saying."
I understood a lot of what they were saying, and a lot of people due to their dialect because most black people in Chicago we have a southern dialect because our people are directly descended from Mississippi,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Alabama. So
I'm
even
sorry,
that,
I don't mean to interrupt, but these comments are freaking hilarious.
Hebrew Lion.
So these people like, yeah, this is why I cannot host these things like lives
Mhm.
because I would be responding to the comments all day and not paying attention to what people. I don't mean to disrespect 18th letter, but it's like this guy wrote Cuban food is whack and they don't know how to cook. I'm just like, wait a minute, why? Why were you pressed to make that comment? Like, did
Yeah,
you date a Cuban girl who didn't know how to cook and now you think, you know what? Let me shut up.
I mean,
but
I mean, when I went out to Miami, I went to a Cuban restaurant. It was good and everything like that. That was like in 2011. But one thing I could say that me and my wife, we went to a Cuban restaurant here in Philadelphia. Uh, we didn't have that same experience.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you know what? I take that back. I think I might have had Cuban food one time. I think I had Cuban breakfast, if I'm not mistaken. It was this because it's a small Cuban population here as well, and it was this restaurant over in Logan Square, which is on the northwest side of Chicago, and I think I had a Cuban breakfast there. And I know I don't really drink coffee, but that Cuban coffee it had me up for a while. My eyes was like you would have thought I was on the nose candy. I was alert. It was that was definitely some strong coffee, and it didn't take much at all. But man, there go my boy right there. There go my boy, the introvert Boricua. Hey Ramon, join the panel. Join the panel. That's my boy right there. Shout out to the introvert Boricua.
You
But
ever
yeah.
find it funny when different nationalities try to gatekeep what kind of food they can claim and they start fighting with each other over it? And they do the same thing with music. And I'm
Mhm,
just like, who gives a crap? Just eat the good
I,
food
I,
and
I
dance
mean, I
together.
mean, if you really look at it, I am I like when I just actually became on these YouTube streams. A
mhm.
whole bunch of these people are trying to gatekeep of what I am, and I already put out the info of who I am, and they still don't believe it. I'm like, dag,
You
how
know what?
stupid that can people be?
You know what? I would like to think all of us three that are chatting on the panel right now are normal people.
Exactly.
Like on YouTube, people that you don't necessarily associate with in your personal life will be on YouTube because everybody has a voice. It's a lot of people that are not mentally stable. Some people are illiterate. Some people are uneducated and miseducated, and everybody just has a voice. So it's a lot of how should I say? It's a lot of noise that you run across on YouTube. Just like you have people, well, what is a black person? Well, a person of mostly African descent, sir. Like it's not that difficult to figure. It's not that difficult to understand. Like it's like people, I'm like, it's not that difficult and it's not that deep. Black people originated in the continent of Africa. Uh, Even Northern Africa was at one point had a black population until the Arabs invaded. But that's another story for another day. But most of us in the Western Hemisphere, whether it be here in the United States, South America, the Caribbean, we descend from West African descendants who was taken off the coast of Africa. If anybody know anything about geography, all you got to do is look at a map and see that whole western section of Africa and the coast right there where the slave ships was brought from and arrived in various islands and into the United States. Is but people like to complicate things to push a narrative and further
No, 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 Poppy. I know black. Let me stop. Let me not resuscitate that conversation. But it just made me.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
just
Trust,
funny.
yeah, trust me. It's like it's crazy. But
yeah,
but,
I leave that alone.
yeah,
I've already had conversations with people on that, and a lot of people, I mean, people are rooted in their stance, and you just got to leave that alone and understand
It's
it.
futile. I think, I used to think that some people are ignorant just because they happen to be, but I realize some people make the effort to remain ignorant because the
Yes,
truth
yes,
doesn't serve their delusions. So that's when I just gave up.
yes. It's because people create identities in ignorance, and if I form my identity in this ignorance, if I've created a person that I am believed to be within this ignorance, so why would you disrupt that and make it where everything that I have believed in delusion is something that's not true. That bothers people, that irks their souls. And
exactly.
when
But
you see
I'm just gonna say, this is a short stream. I'm about to wrap it up. So yeah,
all
the
right,
job
shout out
called
to
me.
you, Don. And if you notice, like with certain people, man, it's like when you see how people think on an everyday, you know how it's easy to manipulate people. You can see how these corporate people, the 3% at the top, since they got all the wealth and the money and all of the millions that they can push forth to make an agenda become a reality, you can see how easily people can be manipulated. And because education costs. If you got lawyers that'll tell you that they'll sit down and give you some legal advice for $5,000, then that's information that's not in the public. So I'll put it that way. But thanks once again for having me on, Don. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. And shout out to you, bro.
I mean, thanks for being on my panel because I was like, yo, it's just a short stream. I'm about to have another one tomorrow, so hopefully be longer and everything like that.
I'll
So,
join.
and I just made you a moderator on my site, so therefore you got the wrench too. So just let you know that, you know what I mean.
Appreciate that, bro. Really appreciate that, man. And thank you once again for allowing me on your platform. And you take it easy.
You too, Rakim. Well, that's all, folks. Tune in for tomorrow. We're gonna have like a very interesting convo. I might even have another special guest. So stay tuned.